Hello, hello, hello. This is Tamika, Seaton, President and CEO of Grow Your Nonprofit, where we help small, startup, and stagnant nonprofits grow through fundraising strategies, strategic planning, and so much more. Guys, today you are in for a treat. I have my returning guest and friend here, Que Raphael. We will talk about her perspective as a volunteer right here in the beautiful Southwest Florida, what she looks for when she decides to get involved in organizations, and so much more. But before we get started, I'd like to thank the sponsors of my podcast. Hodges University with a campus in Fort Myers. Stay near, go far. They change lives for the better. Trinity Life Foundation Naples, helping at-risk youth through their enrichment program. AVID, that stands for the Association of Haitians Living Abroad. They just opened an amazing support center where they will help you with immigration, rental assistance, utility, and guess what? We're starting to add English as a second language, and yours truly will be teaching that course. Last but not least, Vax Truth. They just opened a great support center in Naples. Well, they received a grant from the CDC to raise awareness about COVID-19 vaccine resources in the Black and Brown communities. So without further ado, my special guest, Que Raphael.
Hello, hello. Thank you.
Hi, Que.
Hi.
It's been too long.
I know, right? It's been what?
Maybe a few months. We recorded last year. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
A lot has happened. I think the last time we recorded was just after Hurricane Nicole.
Ian.
And Ian.
Yes, a name you would never forget here in beautiful Southwest Florida. Hurricane Ian, yeah. Yeah. But it's been 6 months since Ian. A lot of our community has recovered, but a lot of parts of our community is ongoing, such as Fort Myers Beach. So we have a long way ahead. And it seems as though, I know this is not the topic of our discussion, that there are natural disasters happening throughout the country and all over the world, actually. So it's very interesting, very interesting. One thing I can tell you about hurricanes that I appreciate, because I'm from California, with earthquakes, you get no warning. No, you don't.
So at least with hurricanes, we know they're coming, right? We know they're coming, so we can prepare. So I am grateful for that. Mm-hmm. So for our audience who don't know you, please start by sharing a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right into volunteerism.
Oh, wow. Where do I start? My name is Que Raphael. I am a advocate here in beautiful Southwest Florida. I wear too many hats. To say the least. But one of my main focus and primary is real estate. I am a servant to our community, helping those understand real estate, understand the market, knowing is now a good time to buy or sell, or what are some of the great investment opportunities here in Florida, and also some a little bit globally as well. I have a global team that looks for investment opportunities there as well. So it just kind of depends. But I wear many, many hats. But as far as my public service, I serve in the real estate community.
You're absolutely correct, because, as a real estate advisor, you're very, very busy as it is. But I still find you giving back. I know you had your seminar, was it How to Build Wealth?
Yes, the Wealth Building Series.
The Wealth Building Series. I attended that, and it was very informative. As savvy as I think I am, I actually learned a lot, and it made me revisit all of my investments and my insurances that I have, and I actually saw some areas that I need to improve upon. So I reached out to one of the people on Don's team to kind of take a look at what I had.
Good.
So thank you. Thank you. That's very valuable, because I don't think I would say communities, all cultures and socioeconomical levels. A lot of times we just don't talk about money.
We don't, and that's it's sad, but it's the truth.
It's the truth.
And that's why the Wealth Building Series is very important. And no matter where you're at in the world, you can actually, if you're here in beautiful Southwest Florida, we welcome you to join us live. But if you cannot make it, there's always a virtual aspect to it. So that way we are spreading as much knowledge about wealth building as possible. So it really doesn't matter where you're at in your wealth building journey, starting up, or you're intermittent, or you are very advanced and you already have your portfolio and financial managers that you're working with.
Yeah.
It's always some other great ways that you can be able to grow.
And not only that, no matter how savvy someone think they are, it's always good to have someone take a second look and sort of do an audit of what you have, because what you have may not be the best product for you.
Absolutely.
So that's recommended. So with that said, volunteerism. What does volunteerism mean to you anyway?
To me, it is something that I think we all have that special part that wants to give back. Whether it's someone that you see homeless and you just want to be able to give a few dollars. You see a young child maybe on television that's looking for a new home. Maybe even for pets. You know, you can volunteer for adoptions and things of that nature. So I think that's something that we all have, God has created in us. And so tapping into that, to me, is really about giving back in any way possible. So volunteering to me is how I can be able to show my love and helping someone else, no matter what it is.
So Q, what does volunteerism mean to you?
Well, you know, I think that is something that everyone has in them. And it doesn't matter on what scale that is. I think it's something that God has given all of us, whether it's helping someone across the street or giving a few dollars to someone that they see in need, being able to even help pets. As far as giving them a home or giving. I just think that it really depends on who you are as a person and what pulls at your heart. And so for me, when I look at volunteerism, it is people who are paying it forward, who are showing their God-given ability to be able to help others.
And you know, the one thing that I found about volunteerism and that giving back, it doesn't take anything from you to give, to help someone, to open a door for someone. Because I notice there are a lot of people who buy what they want and beg for what they need, right? And then there are people who are always giving. And the people I find who are always of service to others and always giving, God provides so much more for them instead of just always being a taker. So that's important, number one. And number two, my mother instilled in all of her children the importance of giving back, even if it's just your time, right? And then the last thing before we move on with our question, or our questions, is there came to a point in my life where I saw someone who was perhaps on drugs or alcohol, and they would be on the street begging for money. And I would say, oh, I'm not giving them money because they're going to go and beg anyway. But what I came to realize is that it doesn't matter what they do with that money. If God gives it to you at that moment in your heart to bless that person, you don't know, that might change their life. You just never know what kind gesture that you do someone who is struggling with drugs or mental health or whatever. Just that little gesture might change their life.
Absolutely.
So don't worry about what they're going to do with the money. If God puts it in your heart at that moment to give, just give.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we live in the land of milk and honey, right? There's abundance. So I know before we started recording, we talked about all of the different organizations that you're involved with. Habitat for Humanity, ACT, the abuse, what's it called? Abuse Treatment and Counseling Center. I think that's what ACT stands for. Share with me, when you decide to get involved and volunteer in the organization, what do you look for and what keeps you engaged and involved with that organization?
You know, that's a great question. I don't have a list of anything. Mm-hmm. It's really a cause that I feel that I can be impactful.
Okay.
So for the ACT shelter, I was brought up in an abused household, and I know how that feels to be a child and to see my mom in that situation, and my heart goes out to them. I've been in abused relationships, and to see my sons see that, and I had to stop it.
Right.
And when I decided to start, when I was in a better position to give back, that tugged at my heart and my willingness to give. So I find out what it is that they're doing, how I can be able to help, how can I be of service. I even brought my children that has never been, I have 2 generations, so the second generation has not lived a violent home to see 2 parents going at it. But they understand that these children need some positivity, they need to be lifted up, and so I will bring them as well, you know, in occasions that are appropriate,
right,
you know, for them. So the organizations that I give, it's nothing in particular that I look for as far as a checklist, but as far as what they're doing in the community, does it resonate with my soul? Does it resonate with my spirit for me to be able to give, and how I can be able to be of service and of impact?
How do you find the organizations that you want to get involved in? Is it through a networking event? Do you do a Google search, or a friend reaches out to you and say, hey, you should get involved with this organization I'm involved in?
Kind of
all of the above?
Only the 2, really networking. Someone reaching out to me, someone like yourself may mention about a organization, some fundraiser or whatnot, and I'm starting to learn more about it, and then I want to become a part of it. You know, like Habitat for Humanity. Today was Miss Odessa, her closing for today.
Woo, Miss Odessa, congratulations. Home ownership is the way to go. That's one of the best ways to build wealth, right?
That's right.
That's what you taught me.
That is so true. Investing into your own self. And so today was her closing. I had the privilege to be able to help raise the walls for her. We did a raising wall ceremony, helping put up the closet doors, the cabinets, the knobs, just different things around the house. And so I try to volunteer at least once a month. If I get 2 times a month, that would be fantastic. But it starts at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Woo!
We pretty much wrap up the day right around 2:30, almost 3 o'clock. And so I try to be able to help out there. But we're talking about empowering women that have, you know, 1 or 2 or 6 children. There's no limit, but anyhow, it's just really empowering them into home ownership and making it feasible for them. That's, you know, that's very important.
And you know, the thing about home ownership that I learned really quickly is that, guess what? Your mortgage payment doesn't change. Your rent will change.
Yes.
It can go up. But your mortgage payment, as long as you know, if you decide to refinance, of course, that'll change everything. But it stays the same. So you can...
For the most part.
For the most part. Your mortgage stays the same.
For the most part. There are some dynamics that can change it, like your property taxes. If the property taxes go up, your mortgage will go up. If once your value of your home goes up, your property taxes will go up because they have to adjust.
Right.
So you will have that fluctuation, but it's for the betterment of your future, and it really helps you to understand that you have more equity now. So that means you have more money.
And I just remember how empowering it was, because when I first moved to Southwest Florida, I was married, and my husband and I, we purchased a home together. And then upon our divorce, I left and he kept the home. So I was renting. So Fast forward, I was able to purchase a home on my own by myself, and that was so empowering. It was scary, but I thank God that I had put myself in a position throughout my marriage where I was going to be okay as a single woman, if you will. Because I was never the type to go out and buy like the designer stuff and the latest and spin. I was a saver and still an investor. So I think that's very important for people to kind of think about a rainy day, a future. You know, things always change. So we want to be ahead of that. So you mentioned you're involved with ACT as a volunteer, Habitat for Humanity. Any other nonprofit organizations you volunteer for?
Well, 2023, I'm looking forward to our next kickoff for suicide prevention.
Okay.
That is something else that is actually, close to my heart, that hits home as well. And so I'm looking forward to that, kicking off our 2023 event. So other than, there's another one. I can see the kids, they're building a new house, actually a new location. Valerie's home.
Valerie's house. Okay.
So me and my kids, we also participated with Valerie's house and
tell us about Valerie's house. What does this organization do?
They actually help and support families who have lost a parent, someone significant in their life, and children go through so much, and they're silent sufferers. They don't even know a lot of time that they're suffering or why they're responding the way that they're responding. But to have that close community niche and network is very important for their psyche, and just been able to be around those who can relate. You know, they lost their mom, they lost their dad, they lost maybe both parents or a close grandparents or, niece, nephew. So, dealing with that grief, they need a safe place for that.
Right.
And so Valerie House offers that.
Okay, very good. So, you're involved in the organization. You found them because they're near and dear to your heart, right? Because of an experience in your life. Now you're there. Now what? What keeps you there? And what are some of the things you like that nonprofits have done for you or volunteers in general to show their appreciation and thank you for your service?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, what keeps me there is having something else planned. I'm a planner, and I love to be able to say, okay, what's next? We've this particular fundraiser event, we knocked out the park, or maybe we needed to go back if it's an annual thing, go back and tweak some things. How I can be of service. Everyone that volunteers, they want to be used, and one thing that will keep me, and I strongly believe anyone else that volunteers, is having a place for them to be able to function and to be able to feel that they're giving back. Because I've been in situations where I volunteered and a lot of people showed up, fantastic, but then you have a lot of people standing around because there's nothing for them to do.
Oh, wow.
You may have a few people doing this and then doing that. So true delegation and planning is the best way to be able to utilize and to make everyone that volunteers feel like, okay, I put in some work, some sweat equity for them, because it's not always about finance.
Right.
So when you look at that, when you're young and you're strong, you can be of more help than financially, because the way that finding good workers nowadays, sometimes you can't.
Oh my God, it's tough.
Yeah, so it definitely can be tough. So getting out there and giving that sweat equity and having something to do for your volunteers is key. And once you have a great event or a great year, putting together an appreciation luncheon or an award ceremony, something like that, I think that goes a long way to really show your volunteers how valuable they are, to the organization and how they change and touch other lives.
So you hear that, guys? You have to appreciate your volunteers to keep them engaged, keep them coming back. And if you say you don't have the budget for, say, a breakfast or a lunch, well, there's another opportunity to reach out to organizations such as Publix or a restaurant that perhaps you patronize on a regular basis. So the premise is really about getting creative, thinking outside the box. Or if you have participants of the program, even a handwritten thank you note,
right?
That could be really great. But always showing your appreciation for your volunteers, because oftentimes staffing for nonprofits and for-profit businesses is a big expense. So having some of those tasks that we can delegate to volunteers is very helpful. Before we wrap up, Q, can you share with our audience how to meet you if you'd like to leave your website, your email, or your telephone number, whatever information you'd like to leave, and it's right here. It'll appear right here on the screen.
Okay. Well, once again, Que Raphael. I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, as well. However you feel, whatever tickle your fancy as far as communication. You can message me on any of those platforms. You can text me at 239-600-0897. You can call me. Nothing wrong with a little voice,
old-fashioned,
right, communication nowadays. You can email me. That is QUERAPHAEL@gmail.com. I also have a website, but I really don't communicate too much through the website. So those are the main ways that you can be able to contact me.
Well, Q, thank you so much for your time, for coming out here and sharing your knowledge with our Grow Your Nonprofit audience. And thank you for what you do in the community. You make a difference, and we appreciate you.
And thank you so much, Tamika, for everything that you do, and for your podcast, and for this is going to be airing on YouTube, right?
Yep, we air on YouTube, on our website, our Facebook, Spotify, Apple, Google, I believe iTunes, and we're getting connected to iHeartRadio. So we're really getting ourselves out there.
Wow.
Yeah, we're really getting ourselves out there. So we're really proud of that. So thank you. So guys, you heard it here. Another amazing individual right here in our community from a volunteer perspective, out there giving back, being a service to others, and just making an impact in our community. I know our government has one place in our community, which is to provide our roadways, our structures such as police, fire. They have their role. The nonprofits have their role where they make a social impact. And guess what? Volunteers do. All together, we work together, we make the world go round. And that's why I love the nonprofit sector. That's why I really enjoy what I do here. So stay tuned for more Grow Your Nonprofit podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Grow Your Nonprofit. Stay tuned, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.